This next poem is a story I wrote. It's not about me, but it's about many, many men and women out there. And I hope you could listen intently. Bones shaking and rattling on the keychain he dangles and plays with in his hands. My heart stops and drops to the sick beat he makes. He jingles and is entertained while I am only thinking of the sound of death ringing in my head. My daddy told me we were going to the candy store we never got to go see. We barely had enough to eat, and I thought he was treating his little princess to the biggest ice cream cone I'd ever had. "Stay right here, I'll be right back," he said. If I think about it now, that's the first time I ever heard death, because Daddy never came back. Instead, a guy dressed in black pushed me to the back seat of his car. We drove so far, away we went, he in complete silence, as my cries and screams seemed to fall on deaf ears after hours. I quieted as we drove up to my first death cell, and I heard death my second time as the man smiled and said, "Welcome to hell." I soon found out what this hell he spoke of was. My nails being eaten down to the quick, my stomach turning over in fear every time I heard his steps, my chest burning in complete anxiety, wanting to die but wanting to live, absolute captivity. The faces of so many other girls like me, left on street corners, sold by their never-came-back daddies. Horror was our new title. Although we knew not the weight of the word, our world was turned and we were hidden from the sun. Run. I just wanted to run, but clawing at the walls just destroyed my fingers, and even if I got out, where would I run? I didn't even know where I was, and then... "My name is Marissa. Don't call me a whore." She said it from across the room at the man that tried to take her from us. A surge of hope ran through my body like adrenaline. My cold skin jumped up at the sound of hope I thought it had forgotten. I heard death a third time that night, as they beat her in the room next door, and they broke her until she could say or think no more except for, "I am an effing whore." I saw death that night, as they threw her into the room. I looked into her eyes, like whining puppies. Cries arose from some of the girls, and others just stared, as you could see something good inside them breaking and leaving forever. After we were all broken, and any sound of hope made your skin crawl and your stomach tighten, after hope and death were indistinguishable in my head, I was drugged and dragged to another place instead, a big V on my forehead. I was different and special to them in a sickening sense. I like to think that V stood for valuable, but you know what it meant. I was forced to watch it before it was done to me, and death came into me. Now, death is my only companion. He has a weird grin and some hair on his chest. Death jingles in my pimp's keys and smells like alcohol in his breath. I want to go with him sometimes, but he himself doesn't let me. See, death has a vicious way of keeping me alive. I might be breathing, but I do not exist. See, nothingness has clouded me, followed me, looked me in the eye. Invisibility has swallowed me and forced me to ask myself, well, who then am I? I am the girl with no name and no face, the woman in the corner outside your warm car in New York, or the one in the cute pink dress on the sales window in Berlin. I am the 7-year-old Cambodian girl sold by her mom. I long to be free from death, hell, sin. I am Jessica, Tanya, Helena, Ruby. I am all around you screaming out, "Do you see me?" I saw death again the other day, in the eyes of the noble man that hung on a tree, as he confronted face to face what for years had terrified me. He knew what it was like to be beaten, broken, and sold, as his father looked away and he bore the sins of the world. He knew death. And he told him to go to hell and get away, because he defeated it by living it and making a way for me to be free. A traffic victim no more. He looked at me and saw no whore, but a daughter who was worth it. And not even death could stop him from coming back for me, you see. He came to that street corner and he picked me up. My daddy, who knew me before I was even born, I had been waiting for him all of this time. His love beat death so that I could finally know life.